think being here, I've accepted two challenges. The first one is speaking right after the coffee break. And the second is talking about content marketing and social media in 7 minutes. All right. I work for Schneider Electric. I'm responsible for content marketing for one of the 4 business units. As you can probably understand from my very exotic accent, I'm Italian. I live in London, and I work for a French company. So I think I represent one of the few working examples, living examples of integration in the European Union. Today we'll talk about content marketing, but before we start with defining what content marketing is, let me anticipate a couple of questions. The first is, what is storytelling? What is a story? A story is simply an argument, a topic that, when told very well, succeed in convincing you of its point. I will give you an example. How many of you recognize this movie? It's a beautiful one. It's a beautiful movie talking about travelings, but it's a very philosophical approach. And I love this movie. I love this movie because I like to travel, because I like to travel alone. So I really identify myself with this story. So a good story is a story that makes us feel fulfilled when it becomes our experience. So this movie, for me, represents more or less the experience that I do every single time when I travel alone. So this is what a story is. But why content marketing? Why it is becoming so popular? And what the difference is with the past? So let me anticipate a second question. Most of you are marketers here in this room, right? So the question may be, all right, we always have been creating content, so what's the difference? What is changing today? Well, the other question is, did we really ever created content? Now, you may remember this, or you may not, but this is the first banner ad. It was 1994, and the results was very stunning, 44% of click-through rate. Today is 0.04%. So again, the question is, did we really always tell stories as a marketer? Half of the money I spend on adverts is wasted. The trouble is I don't know exactly which half. Now, that's the experience we all have with promotion and adverts, right? So, and that's basically where content comes. This is the situation today. Now, understanding this means understanding the fact that each of our potential buyers, it really doesn't matter if it's B2C or B2B buyers, they follow a specific buyer journey. Now, in this case, it's extremely simplified. Awareness, consideration, decision. The reality is much more complex. And if you think about when you, all of you, me included, when we want to buy something like shoes or even food online or books, our path on the digital tools, on Google first, is extremely complex. We start to search, then we start to understand exactly what we are looking for, then we evaluate different options, then we stop everything, right? So it's not so easy. Then we go back, we search again. We are now aware at this point about what we want to buy. We evaluate different vendors, we buy. It's like a circle. But the reality is we have to simplify as a marketer. So let's say that there are 3 main stages of decision during the buyer journey. Actually, there are more, as I said. Awareness, I start to go and search for stuff. I have questions, I need answers. Then consideration, I'm starting to consider different options. And again, it doesn't really matter if it's B2C or B2B, because as someone said before, I think Martin, at the end, there are individuals in companies that are searching for solutions, right? So it's not so different. And then finally, the decision. Now, the reality is today, most of us in terms of companies, we are producing content for the final stage of the buyer journey, which is products. Final stage, when people already know about us, they want to evaluate the difference between our technical features or our services and the services from the competition. And then we are generating this kind of content, right? But can we reuse this content for the very early stage of the buyer journey? Of course, the answer is no. They are looking for generic questions to be answered. They don't care about us. In general, they don't care about our brands. So the reality is, content marketing approach the content and the conversation with the potential customer from a totally different perspective. So content marketing is focused usually on the very top funnel, right? The very first stage of the buyer journey. And that's where we focus on. And I'm not saying that product-related content is bad. What I'm saying is it's probably not the case to use that content in the very early stage of the journey because you simply fail with attracting people. So back to the question, have we always been creating content? Yes, but probably we have not been good in securing that the potential customers are consuming content properly in the right way, at the right stage of their journey. So that's what content marketing is. It's a very analytical approach which lets you understand exactly what are the stages of the journey and which kind of content you need to create for them to be consumed. So this is the very classical definition. Content marketing, a strategic marketing approach, focuses on creating and distributing valuable and relevant content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience. And of course, at the end, to drive profitable customer action. So that's what content marketing is. The other big difference between content marketing and the traditional way of doing marketing is content marketing is always on, which means I can buy shoes during the night. I mean, I can buy a book at 3 a.m., right? And I can do the same searching for information with the B2B solution. So it's not a campaign. It doesn't have a beginning and the end. It's always on. And it starts with persona profiling. So you need to understand who your customers are. And based on who your customers are, at that point, you define the buyer journey and you map content. So you need to know exactly which kind of content is consumed by your potential customer in every single step of the buyer journey. So that's a big difference with the past, where we just push adverts to the masses, just hoping that someone will answer, right? So this is what content marketing is, just putting all things in a graphical way. You have the brand purpose, where we always talk about ourselves. We are the best. Our brand is the best one, right? We provide the best services ever. On the other side, there is really what the customer wants. Content marketing is in the middle. So still important for driving profitable action, but at the same time, we are providing content and answers to their questions. In general, you get what you give, and it's the brand that gives away the most useful information that wins. And the other point is, I'm not saying that we need to stop promoting and using adverts or the traditional way of doing marketing. But what I do is promoting content, not promoting products. So whenever I go with a campaign, a paid campaign, I usually promote my content. So I push visitors and I push the audience in order to increase the consumption of my content. I'm no longer promoting products and solutions. And of course, you have social media, which is playing a great role with the content distribution. And this is just a funny way to remember that even the traditional approach, like email, is still working pretty well, especially in B2B, but it's not only B2B. So these are all the channels that you need to use in order to promote your content. What does it mean? It means that whenever you create content, which can be a blog post, white paper, ebook, whatever kind of content on your website, of course you need to promote that, because people will simply not go if they don't know where it is. And then you have to use social media to promote your content. This is the best way. And remember, it's the content strategy that comes first, not the social media strategy. So whenever you, as a utility or energy company, open a new account and you say, hey, we are finally here on Twitter, but don't do that if you don't have a clear content strategy. Otherwise, you will not know exactly what to do and how to implement the conversation on social media, right? Content marketing works. It is probably very well known in the States. In Europe, it's starting to be not really mainstream, but I would say 20–30% of the marketers are starting to approach for the first time content marketing instead of a traditional way to do marketing. I can tell you a couple of numbers coming from my personal experience. While with the traditional campaigns, I had a conversion rate, which means basically people going through the website and then leads of 1%. Now I have between 6 and 15% using content that really matters to the audience and stopping the advertisement, by the way. So 4 examples, and I close my short presentation with this. B2B on top, B2C on the bottom. Content loop, this is a content hub, so it's a web page created by Capgemini. It's a B2B company, very active in tech engineering, and they are talking about innovation, they are talking about new technology trends. Same for GE on the right side, and you can see 2 brand new examples, especially the one on the left for B2C. Lonely Planet has just released 1 week ago the destination pages. Actually, they were already there, but very static, very text-based. This is brand new. So now, in addition to the guides, which is basically something that we all use, they are creating these free of charge destination pages where you can really find a lot of information, and it's properly delivered in terms of content, in terms of visual, so they know which kind of content their audience will consume. And finally, Lego. Lego, you know that it's becoming, actually, it is already considered the biggest media company, even if they are not active players in media, right? They are selling games. But the reality is they are creating movies, they are creating microsites, they engage at every single level their customers with content. Content can be, of course, different kind of content, media content, visual content, movies. So Lego is one of the great examples of switching from an advert-based marketing approach to a content-based marketing approach. And that's it from my side. So my final suggestion to all of you is B2C and B2B are converging thanks to social media and content marketing. The important point here is you need to know your customer buyer journey. And then you need to define which kind of content they will consume. This is the best way to attract customers, not necessarily the old traditional way, which, as I said, is the interrupting marketing way. So thank you very much.